Phoebe on a fence post, fly away. Phoebe on a fence post, fly away home. Green snake in the sweet grass, slide away. Green snake in the sweet grass, slide away home. 'Cause the sunset through the birches paints a picture on the wall. The dandelions are closing and the hermit thrush calls. So Phoebe on a fence post, fly away. Phoebe on a fence post, fly away home.
Well, everybody, hello, New England, and welcome to another edition of Radio New England. I am Adam, and I am joined by my co-host, remotely joined by my co-host, Stacy. We're gonna continue our little series of local artists who are finding innovative ways to cope with the COVID-19 pandemic that is taking storm around the world these days. And while we've been kind of, in past Radio New Englands, we've been kind of sticking to what is easy for us here in Boston and here in Massachusetts, since our studio is here in Boston, in the Boston area. This remote situation has kind of opened up some doors for us. And now we're going up to mid-northern Maine, where we join a longtime Mainer and friend of ours and musician, Jud Caswell. Hello, Jud.
Hey, Adam. Thanks for having me here. Hi, Stacey.
Thank you so much for being here. Yeah, I was really excited. Adam and I were talking the other day how, we could actually, the silver lining in the situation is that it gives us a much better opportunity to get outside Massachusetts or even New Hampshire, Rhode Island, where people are on the border of our state and can get to us easily. So I'm excited to talk to not just somebody who happens to live in Maine right now, but a native Mainer, 7th generation Mainer.
Absolutely.
So you are a true Mainer. So thank you for taking the time and joining us here. Tell us how the music scene is faring up there in Maine right now.
Well, I think it's faring sort of how it is everywhere. I think everything is just sort of shut down. You know, all of the normal avenues for people to perform their music are gone. But, you know, people who teach lessons are teaching lessons online. And, you know, I'm doing songwriting, mentoring, and sort of workshopping. I'm doing some of that online, which has been fantastic to be able to continue with that. But I think everybody everybody who can has gone to Facebook, has gone to YouTube, has gone to Instagram, has gone to streaming and recording and sharing as best we can that way.
Yeah, and you have this special, you're calling your morning cordials. You're posting new videos to social media, to Facebook, your Facebook and YouTube page, correct?
Yeah.
Every day. But you're not just doing that just to entertain the folks. You're actually using an opportunity to help and give back to the local Maine community where you are and help people out with the COVID relief, right?
Yeah. You know, my first response when things all got canceled, It was kind of the day before, a couple days before St. Patrick's Day, and I do a lot of playing in Irish pubs. I play a lot of Irish music. It's one of my sort of mainstays of playing close to home, and so I immediately, I was thinking of them, you know, the people who I've known there for years, and what a huge hit it was. For them, for the people in the pubs, and for the people who are working there and counting on those tips on that day. So on St. Patrick's Day, I did a live stream, and I set up my PayPal tip jar to be passed on to the folks in those restaurants. And then I wanted to kind of continue on that and to share, you know, whatever money people wanted to throw in my PayPal tip jar, to just share it with COVID-19 relief efforts. And so that's gone, since then it's gone to a couple of local food banks and to, there's a United Way program that I'm giving to this week. United Way of Midcoast Maine has a COVID-19 emergency relief fund which 100% of the money that goes to that goes right back out into the community, goes right back out into other charities that are having a hard time making ends meet and doing their jobs now. And then just earlier this month, I shared with a little charity called Caring for Kids, which is something that I've played for in the past, and it's up in Bristol, Maine, it's about an hour from me here in Brunswick, and that's a community where I recorded a live record last year. My Live at the Seagull Shop record, it was recorded in Bristol, and so it felt good to be able to share something with those folks.
That's wonderful that, you not only found a way to keep yourself going, but to help others as well. I think that's a really important message that everybody sees right now. So when we're all having a difficult time. So I'm glad to, you're out there helping others as well, not just yourself.
Well, and I think it's really insightful of you to say that it's a way to kind of keep myself going, because, as a musician, you spend your life sharing music with people, and when that's turned off, it's not just like a vacation. It's cutting something out of your life that's a really important thing for you. And so being able to make this music and have people listen and request things, and it makes all the difference in the world for musicians, I think, to be able to share what you do, and to see that you're having a positive impact on people in big and small ways. I've gotten feedback from people who's saying, hey, I'm dealing with the first round of chemo right now, and boy, this daily music has just made a really big difference. Being able to listen to this every morning, and it's somebody I had no idea they were going through that, and it just is really, it's humbling, and it's really it's great to be able to offer some little piece of comfort to people.
Yeah, well, I mean, and that's the thing with all performers, not just musicians too, but of course, obviously you're a musician, and on this podcast, although it's kind of a little more of a video broadcast now too, on this program, we're talking with musicians. But as a performer, you of course feed off the audience. Of course, you spend some time recording in your studio at home, so you have CDs or MP3 files to distribute to people. But that's a bulk of what you do, is performing in front of people and feeding off that audience energy there. But you are also doing, some of these virtual house concerts, and I'm curious how that might compare, how much you're able to get the audience feedback out of that, how much you're maybe missing the live in-person feedback.
Yeah, I've done a few of those, and I haven't done them enough to feel like it's really an interaction with people. There's a time lag between you saying something and people hearing it that's pretty long. So it's like having a phone conversation with somebody who's like, on the other side of the world, and you say something and like you keep interrupting each other, and it's not real. It's not at all the kind of communication like you'd experience on stage. But I've been surprised at how different it does feel to be broadcasting as opposed to being recording. The sense that there is somebody who's listening to the unfiltered. It does feel more like being on stage than just recording something. So it's a happy medium, I guess.
So to that end, Jud, there's as we stated, there's a difference between performing live in a venue and performing for a web camera.
Yeah.
How and that audience interaction. How do you deal with the lack of that audience interaction when you're performing in one of these live house tours, or even you're recording your morning cordials? How do you deal with that lack of feedback?
Well, it's something that as a musician over the years, you are in situations where you need to do that, pretty frequently. You're practicing all the time, right? If you play out in restaurants ever, you spend a lot of time being playing and not particularly being listened to. Or if you do, things like this, if you do radio, I think radio was actually was a really good introduction to to this to live stream. It's essentially the same thing. You're sitting in a room talking to yourself, and there are umpteen people listening to you, and you have no idea what they're hearing or what they're thinking or where they are, or but they're there. So doing that a little bit is that's a helpful background for it. But you try to put yourself in a good headspace, and you imagine the people out there who are out there, and you try to sing to the people. You picture your friends and your fans and people who want to hear what you're doing, and you make the music for them, even though you can't see them.
Great. And with the when you prepare, your morning cordials, you tape those. You don't do those live at 10 o'clock. So,
no, I don't.
How do you prepare? Say, okay, it's a new day, and 10 o'clock is coming up, so I need to get a clip out. How do you prepare for that?
Mostly it's been waking up in the morning and being like, all right, well, what am I going to do? I've only got an hour or hour and a half or 2 hours to put this together and edit it. And so I come downstairs with a cup of tea or a cup of coffee and start playing through some songs, and just sort of decide what I'm in the mood for that day. It's often that. So most of them I record the morning that I share them. I keep thinking that I'm going to do some. It seems like it'd be much more efficient to do a couple 3 at a time anyway, and share them out. It just hasn't worked that way. And the only exception for that really has been I've done some. On Fridays I've been doing Irish tunes, and I really wanted to play. I've got this Irish tenor banjo, and I've got a bodhrán, and I'm a whistle player, and I've got all these different Irish instruments, and I've always wanted to play, add some of the whistle to a banjo tune that I've been playing, or play a little mandolin on something. Mm-hmm. So a few weeks ago, I started adding that stuff to the videos. And the first one of those I just got up at like 6 a.m. or 5:30 in the morning and did like six parts and rushed through comping a multi-track video together and sharing that up. A couple of those I've started the day before.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of a lot of stuff to do.
But it's wonderful to see, I'm sure, the final product when the audience gets to see it the next day.
I think it's really neat. It's a fun. I don't know. It's a fun process, and I think if I'm having fun doing it, I think people have fun seeing it.
And doing something like that, as you say, multi-track video, it adds another element to somebody just playing acoustic unplugged version. You're actually simulating the band experience again,
right?
By putting something like that together,
right,
for the viewers.
Yeah, it's a funny this daily video thing is an interesting kind of compromise. In a way, it's also a compromise between live and really recorded. Like they're not really heavily produced videos. I'm doing them. I'm trying to for most of them, the ones other than the multi-track ones, like the one that I did, Monday of this week was my sort of blues version of fingerstyle version of Dolly Parton's 9 to 5, and that I decided a couple days ago, days before I wanted to do it, and then went down in the morning and just played it in just my first take, just played it and recorded it and put it up. So it was really as close. It could have been live streamed. Mm-hmm. And a lot of them are like that, with a little bit of throat clearing at the beginning cut out. A lot of them are they're kind of one take. And mm-hmm. I like that feeling of immediacy, and I think that comes through. But, the more productions also kind of fun. And it's all a compromise. Variety. Yeah. Trying to do a few different things.
Yeah. Well, Jud, if you don't mind, I'd like to talk to you too, outside of, just talking about what's going on right now in the Maine music scene. Talk to you about the Maine music scene in general. Because I know a lot of people that watch or that listen to this program, maybe based in Massachusetts or even, that's not that's outside of Maine, or also even further away from Maine, like down in Connecticut, and may not know much about the Maine music scene. Could you talk to us about that and like why it's so special to you? Because I know at one point you were about to sign with Judy Collins' record label, and you decided you wanted to go home, and you said that you strive to really make your music and do stuff for your community there.
Yeah. So the music scene that I know is sort of the singer-songwriter scene a little bit, and the folk music scene. So, I think that the kind of music that I do fits really well in that sort of folk coffee house kind of a scene. And there's a really there's a wonderful sort of like nationwide community of people who do that and who are fans of that. But it's not, this is not like Burning Man size festivals things, right? I mean, this is folk music is we've sort of been joking like the way to make sure you don't bring too many people together in any one concert is just advertise it as folk music, and you'll be able to accomplish your social distancing just like that. Or if people have been saying, just you keep people 6 feet apart by just you put a banjo on every corner and people just keep their distance from it. So when I was gonna sign, years ago, I had been doing a lot of traveling, and I just decided I didn't want to be away from home all the time. So my music scene at home is I've got a bunch of songwriters who I work with, and I host some open mics up here that are sort of songwriter focused open mics. And it's sort of, my focus is on the craft of songwriting and on recording as well. I've got a recording studio here in Brunswick, and bring people in, and I've been doing a lot of records with folks here for a lot of years. And I'm not too far away from Portland. Portland has got some great places for acoustic music as well. But in general, acoustic music is a thing that kind of fits in with the cracks of other music scenes.
All right. I've noticed that the folk music scene tends to be a little more intimate gatherings than the rock and the pop concerts, which in some cases is better to enjoy the music with that.
Yeah, for sure.
With that, Jud, why don't you feel like you can maybe give us a little bit more taste for people who don't know of your particular style of folk music, and
Sure.
And we'll come back, and I'd like to talk a little bit when we come back about Live from the Seagull Shop.
Yeah, great.
So we'll let you play, and we'll come back and we'll talk about that in just a minute.
Nana was a registered Republican. Pappy was a Democrat for life. You never heard a word of anger pass between that husband and his wife. People kind of wondered why they bothered to even take the time to put on coats and go out to the schoolhouse on a Tuesday night to cancel out their votes. Well, it used to be there was a time we could agree to disagree. That was before the slide into the Great Divide. Now every word I hear about my country feels like gasoline poured on a flame. Seems like everybody's picking sides and picking fights and calling names. Everywhere I look I see the anger. Every conversation fills with trolls. Everybody knows the party lines. We wave our signs, we play our roles. But it used to be this land of us and them was made for you and me. But I guess that died in the Great Divide. Yes, I know you didn't start this fight, and I've heard the other side is more to blame. And I know that there's a wrong and right, and we can't afford to lose this game. We're all losing just the same. 'Cause we get kinda stupid when we're angry. It's easier to hurt a herd that hates, to play us like a sucker on the line each time we rise to click the bait. Oh, but there's a simple, hard solution, older than the oldest grudge you've nursed. Someone's gonna have to lay their sword down, but someone's gonna have to do it first. And it seems to me that we've forgotten who's a friend or enemy. And you'll recall that a house divided surely is gonna fall. Fall for spite and fall for pride into the great divide. Nana was a registered Republican, and Pappy was a Democrat for life.
Jud Caswell, ladies and gentlemen, here on Radio New England. We're talking with Jud about Morning Cordial, his daily 10 o'clock music sessions on social media. But what I'd like to kind of jump into now, Jud, is your latest album, a live album, Live from the Seagull Shop.
Yeah.
I noticed that there's been some honors bestowed upon that album recently. You want to talk about that?
Yeah. I got really, really exciting news last month. So the record went out to the national folk DJ stations and shows beginning of March, and it was the number one folk DJ record for March.
Well,
so
Congratulations on that.
yeah.
yes.
Wow.
Tell us a little bit about. I mean, actually, a lot of people I've seen are doing live albums these days. Tell us a little bit. I know the Seagull Shop is a important venue for you, and tell us a little bit about how that album actually came about and how you decided that you were going to do that album.
Yeah, I had always wanted to do a record that was just solo, that was just sort of me and an instrument.
Mm-hmm.
And I also think there is really something about playing for other people.
Mm.
So this is a room that I play music at kind of weekly all through the summer, and have for the past 10 years. And there are a lot of friends and fans there, and I thought it'd be a great place to set up and just record a show. And it turns out it was.
Yeah.
And the CD is, I don't know, it's like 21 tracks maybe. It's 17 songs and four introductions. So there's a little bit of talking.
Mm-hmm.
But it's mostly just the tunes, and it's a collection of mostly my stuff with a few Irish songs thrown in, and a Richard Thompson song as well, which is.
How did you choose the songs that you were gonna sing for that recording?
I kind of chose them as I was making the recording. There was
It's kind of the art of the performance, right?
Yeah, I don't recommend it. I don't think it's a good way to do it. I don't. But there's one song on there that I decided to play. Like, I had decided not to do, but a good friend had asked for it, and I didn't feel like I was ready to sing it. Like, I just didn't know it well enough. And about 10 or 15 minutes before I started playing the show, I was like, yeah, I'll do it. I'll just do it.
Do you mind sharing with us which one that was?
It was Mary Mac. Mary
Okay.
Mac,
Okay.
which is there's a lot of words in that song.
Yeah.
And
We'll have to make sure to go listen to that song on the CD.
Oh, They go by very, very, very fast as well. So it was a funny one to throw in there at the. But I think that's part of what it is to be doing live music is taking some risks with it.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's the record is very much what the show was. It's the I didn't change the order of the songs. Just cut out a little bit of yakking.
So Jud, unfortunately, these Zoom meetings were limited in our time because I think we could probably talk more than the 7 minutes that Zoom is allotting us remaining here. Do you want to just tell people how they can hear you, how they can get in touch with you? Obviously, there are no live gigs for the foreseeable future, but let people know how they can get in touch with you and check you out.
And also, don't mind reminding us the songs that you sung for us here today, the one that you sung off the top of the one you just sung a few minutes ago. So people, if they like those songs, they can go and find those specifically.
Yeah. So the first song was Phoebe on a Fence Post, and that's from my live CD, Live at the Seagull Shop. And the one that I played in the middle of the show, The Great Divide, is a newer tune, and that's one that's really only available on the Morning Cordial playlist. So you can listen to stuff. It's all at my website, which is Jud Caswell, JudCaswell.com. And that has got links to the YouTube channel, which has all the videos, and as well as the at Facebook. I'm Facebook.com Jud Caswell Music.
Wonderful. Jud, thank you so much for taking the time to be here with us today and talk to us. And of course, for everything you're doing up there in Maine for the Maine music community and just the Maine community in general, helping people survive our current situation, what we're going through. So best wishes to you with everything as you move forward.
Thanks.
And just what is two other artists who are in similar situation in this time of COVID-19, what advice, what words of wisdom would you give to other artists who may be trying to get through this time at this point?
Who may need a little encouragement, right?
Yeah. I think the advice of it's the advice that you get on the airplane, which is put your own mask on first, like take care of yourself, like music is something that that remember that you need it in your life, and pay attention to the ways that music makes you who you are, and then find a way to reach out from that and try to do whatever piece you can in helping other people through their journey.
Wonderful. Again, Jud, thank you so much.
Yes, thank you, Jud.
Best wishes and everything.
And we'll be back again with some more local New England artists who are working their way through this pandemic like the rest of us are. And hopefully in the coming months we'll be able to have our guests back into the studio and have some sense of normal across the board here as we all get through this. So Jud, you and your family and everybody else up in Maine, stay safe, and we will, and everybody else who is listening and watching, stay safe, and make sure you get out there to your favorite local musician. Check Jud out, check out other local musicians, and give them the support. And again, Jud's support also goes to help other people and other organizations up in Maine who are in need at this point as well. So there's the added benefit there as well. So thank you again, and we will see you next time on the next Radio New England.